Magandang araw po sa inyo mga kabansa. Kayo po ay nasa Iparas kay Paras at ito ay inyong lingkod Dado Paglinawan na bumabati sa inyo sa programang ito. At narito na ang ating secretary.
Magandang hapon, mga kababayan. Magandang hapon, Paring Ado. Ito tayo muli dito sa ating programa, Iparas kay Paras. At, nasabi na natin parati na kawawa pa rin talaga ang ating mga kababayan dahil sa kalagayan nila ngayon. Nadagdagan pa dahil dito nga sa baha, dito sa napakalakas ang ulan at puro kasinungalingan lang ang gobyerno tungkol sa mga programa or projects na dapat sana maibsan ang problema ng ating mga kababayan, pero it turns out na wala naman pala. Pinagyabang lang yung napakaraming flood control projects, pero nung nakita na ang katotohanan, lumabas na ang mga baha, wala naman palang binatbat itong kadaldala ni Marcos tungkol dyan. Tapos, sa kabilang dako, habang nag-aalibay si Marcos at sinasabi na dahil sa basura, dahil nabangga nung barko yung kasi kaya nagkakaroon ng napakalakas na baha, ang totoo naman talaga ay wala naman talagang kaibsan yan, yung baha na yan, dahil wala naman talagang flood control. Pero si Ginang Sara, maski nakaalis siya papuntang Germany dahil hindi man niya kalain na magkaroon ng ganitong napakalakas na ulan, nakapunta na siya ng Germany, binabatikos ngayon. At isa sa mga
Gigil na gigil.
Maski si Ginang Sara wala rito, nagpo-provide pa rin ng tulong sa bawat mamamayan na nasalanta ng baha.
First responder.
Itong walang kanais-nais na PNP chip at ito ngayon ang kinikriticize ng karamihan ay tinanggalan pa siya ng security.
Si Captain Marvel.
Hindi. Ano yan? Sergeant Marvel. I don't think he will reach the level of captain. Hindi yan pwede sa, ano ba yung Dell Comics or Avengers kasi sergeant lang yan eh. So, anyway, ito, mayroong interview, itong suki ng mga Duterte, number 1 anti-Duterte person by the name of Davila. Ini-interview niya si General Albayalde tungkol sa issue ng pagbibigay ng security sa mga VIP, tulad ng Presidente at saka Vice President. At dito, she wanted to bring Albayalde na iintrigahin na naman sana niya si Ginang Vice President Sara. Pero hindi siya nakalusot kay Albayalde. Kasi mas matalino si Albayalde dito sa Davilang ito. Alam naman ito si Davila, basta Duterte, lahat na maisip, ibabato niya sa mga Duterte. Ito, pakinggan natin ito si Davila, si Karen Davila.
Is deploying 75 police officers for the Vice President, whoever it may be. Is that too many?
It depends on the level of threat, Karen, no? She's the Vice President, and during our time, probably there was no really threat from the Vice President then. So we don't need to deploy as much security as now. Depende po yan sa level ng threat ng VIP, Karen.
So, I wanted to ask you, okay, all right. Okay, just for the record, so Mr. Gutierrez said that former Vice President Lenny's security detail reduced to just 83 by 220 from 108 in 2016. Vice President Duterte apparently has 433. So that's the security detail. But I think we'll just go back to the PNP deployment per se. What would be the right number for you?
Well, as I've said, there's no right number here, Karen. Depende po yan sa level ng threat ng BIP, Karen. It's of course the situation, kung ano po ang sitwasyon ngayon. The situation then, especially the political situation then and now are two different things, Karen. So kaya depende po yan, no? And of course, I could not second guess the Chief PNP here kung anong talagang naging decision niya at kung anong pumasok sa at anong naging paraan niya para to reduce the number of security of the Vice President.
Okay. Do you believe it was political, the reduction?
I cannot speculate, Karen. Well, the PNP, Karen, remember, it's to be honest, it's really highly politicized. No? Talagang meron po talagang pumapasok na politics kuminsan sa mga decisions ng mga commanders natin on the ground or even the Chief PNP when politics come in.
Gusto pa manghintriga itong si Davila. Siguro gusto niyang pupasukin na bakit pa manghihingi ng maraming si Sara Duterte? Si Leni Robredo, konti nga lang nga. Well, Miss Davila, for your information, at kung nakikinig ka or nakikipag ramdam ka, maski Vice President si Sara, naging Education Secretary, ang daming threat sa kanya. Ang daming threat dahil maski kaibigan, kunyari niya si Marcos, ang number 1 kalaban ni Sara Duterte ay ang pinakamasahol na kalaban, ang asawa ni Marcos. And she commands a lot of power and influence. Hindi naman natin sinasabi na ipapatay si Sara or gagawa ng kung ano-anong mga pagsakit or whatever. Pero the threat from the politicians, mayroong isa dyan, parating tinitira si Sara, yung taga-congressman ng Manila, yung Chekwa na congressman. Tinitira parati si Sara. Maraming threat where she really needs security. At saka, yung sinasabing marami, hindi naman yan sa isang lugar. When she travels, there are already mga naka-deploy doon.
Nag-sweep doon.
Oo. So, they are maybe assigned somewhere. Hindi naman magsabay-sabay ang 100 plus na security. If you're talking of 75 and 45, that's 125. Now, Sara, although kakampi sila ni Marcos, kinuha siya, pero she is surrounded by enemies na kunyari from within, mga kaibigan, mga kasama, mga kakampi ni Marcos. Pero Sara is an enemy of these people because apart from Marcos na nagkukunyari na kasama niya si Sara, yung nakapalibot kay Marcos are all aspiring. Mayroon silang ina-aspire na lalaban kay Sara Duterte. So, ngayon pa lang, under threat na. Kung pwede nilang yariin si Sara ngayon na hindi na makaabot sa 2028, yayariin nila. Or, kung magkaroon man ng people's power, si Sara ang successor, hindi na nila paabutin doon ang buhay ni Sara na magiging katulad ni GMA who took over from ERAP. Now, if you compare her with Leni Robredo, sabi daw nung Gutierrez, how can you compare? Unang-una, si Leni Robredo, minamahal ni Duterte. Di ba? I remember one of my best friends.
She was never under threat.
She was never under threat. In fact, a very true testimony is when yung isang friend ko, si Attorney Manuelito Luna, nilait niya or inano niya, kinriticize niya si Juan. Si Lenny Robredo, bakit daw maghihingi ng mga donation? My friend was fired by Duterte outright, pare.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
No.
Disrespectful.
So, walang ganon. Kaya tama si General Albayalde that during the time of President Duterte, there was no threat against Lenny Robredo. And besides, even if he was not in unity with Duterte during the campaign and up to the election, he belongs to the opposition party of the Liberal, kinupkop ni Duterte si Lenny Robredo.
Walang.
Ginawang co-chairman ng LCAC. Di ba?
Ngayon piniprema pa ng mga Marcos itong si Sara para ba tinutulak na magkamali.
Oo.
Set up.
So at that time, walang comparison. Kaya tama si General Albayalde. At saka, alam mo, hindi mo na, kung common sense na lang, kung bobo ka, madam, where you all the time act like that, na tatanungin ka pa kung anong tama na number of security, that's common sense. Kung may common sense ka, Miss Davila, you will find out. Kung nakikinig ka or you listen to the things that happen in the United States about the assassination of President Donald Trump, you might have found out that Donald Trump was also a victim of such political harassment. Naghihingi si Trump ng mga extra security. Hindi siya pinagbigyan. Now, kung tatanungin mo, ilan bang kailangan ng ex-president or ilan bang kailangan ng vice president? That will really depend on the threat. That's common sense. Hindi mo na kailangan tanungin pa kay Albayalde kung may kukote ka. Di ba?
Walang perse dyan.
Wala.
Hindi ka sa mga perse.
Kasi, alam mo, tinatanong niya ito kasi she will drive the issue. Ini-entrap niya si Albayalde para magsabi, hindi, sobra yung kay Duterte na, kasi she is a Duterte hater, itong Davila na ito. Dapat nga, boycott ito ng mga DDS na wag nang pakinggan yung Davila na yan Kasi, every time she talks about any topic pertaining to the Duterte, she will always comes up with hating Duterte.
With a loaded question.
Loaded questions para itatrap niya. Ang ginagamit niya normally yung isang dating bungal na political advisor na ni dating presidente na napakabulok na presidente during the time, tapos yung political advisor equally bulok kasi hinuli na dala-dala mga barel. Yun ang favorite niya nitong si Davila. Oo. So, kung ano naman, pag tinatanong naman itong bulok na ito, anti-Duterte din, pare. So, wala tayong mapapala. I think you'll end up with you will always be displeased by the questions being asked because it's a very biased questions when it comes to the Duterte. Yun po ang totoo. Now, talking again of the another Duterte, who is the
former president
Ito naman, tinanong naman si General Albayalde by the same woman. Ito, pakinggan natin.
Another loaded question.
What do you make of former President Duterte's statements? And I'm sure this is probably documented in the ICC investigation. Is in one of the interviews and his announcements, and I quote, he said to the PNP, "Do your duty, and if in the process you kill 1,000 persons because you're doing your duty, I will protect you." And some have said that it's statements like, "Just shoot, do your duty, if you kill 1,000, I'll protect you." It's these kinds of statements that actually encouraged these extrajudicial killings and impunity from police officers. What do you make of that statement from the president? Do you see that as a policy statement?
He gives no statement, Karen, in the media or in the television, Karen. But never did the former president told us, whether directly or indirectly, to do what he's been saying in TV or publicly, Karen. That's why we are bounded by our laws, Karen. Palagi po namin sinasabi sa ating mga kapulisan yan, no? And we cannot follow unlawful orders, Karen, no? We follow our PNP operational procedures here, no? And as I've said, and I will say this again, wala pong sinabi sa atin ng ating Pangulo personally, whether directly or indirectly, kagaya na sinasabi niya sa TV.
Okay, but in July 2019, Amnesty International published a report. They did their own investigation, and based on the interviews that they've conducted and their own assessment and investigation, is essentially the policy of the administration then was they just kill. Kumbaga, papatay ka lang, pumatay ka na.
That's probably the president, but not with the PNP, Karen, because we are law enforcers and we believe that one death is too kind. We are not trying to justify the killings here, Karen. Never. And the PNP is pro-life, no. We do not justify a single killing here, Karen.
So what you're saying is, even if the president was making statements of pumatay ka, kung nakapatay ka ng 1,000, I'll protect you, etc., what you're saying is the PNP did not implement the president's orders?
Yes, yung sinasabi niyang basta pumatay ka. Of course, remember the Kian case, Karen, nung where a minor was a victim, no? The president did not even yung sinasabi niya, I will pardon you, sabi niya, di ba? Yung sinasabi niya, pagpa-convict kayo, I will pardon you. And yet, when those policemen were convicted, what did he say? Ang sabi niya, I will not pardon you in 1,000,000 years.
Okay.
Wow, pahiya ang Duterte hater. Pahiyang-pahiya. Kasi gusto niya talagang idiin si Duterte na wala namang proof. Kung magsabi lang pala si Duterte, nagbibiro lang na, sige nga, patayin niyo yan. Propaganda lang para pangpatakot sa taong bayan na mga drug addict. Tatakutin niya. Part of his propaganda mechanism. Pero there is really no formal or orders, real orders, address or memorandum or whatever. Tapos mayroon daw nag-imbestiga, naniniwala na itong Duterte hater na babae na ito,
ICC report.
ICC report, alam mo naman ito, galit ito kay Duterte kasi nawala ng yung kanyang favorite na station. Sinipa. Pero biniblame niya si Duterte. Bakit hindi mo Kongreso ang titirahin mo, si Remulla? Bakit hindi mo hinihit si Remulla? Si Defensor, si Dante Marcoleta, yun ang nagpatanggal sa favorite station mo. Bakit si Duterte parati ang tinitira mo? At wala ka naman proof sasabihin mo, Miss Davila, na nag-imbestiga ang Amnesty International. Ano ba yan? Mga leftist organization yan Naniniwala ka kasi baka
mo mag-isip yung mga yan.
baka parehong-pareho sa iyo mag-isip, ha? Ano ka ba? Leftist ka rin ba? Or ano?
Puro kayo assumptions.
Kaya,
those evidence.
kaya hindi ka makalusot kay Albayalde because Albayalde, General Albayalde, matalino. Ha? Hanggang puwet ka lang ni Albayalde. You'll never reach his wisdom. Kasi, napaka-bias mo kasi. Kaya hindi ka tatalino dahil mayroon ka ng well-orchestrated hatred against Duterte. Kaya,
Mindset mo na yan.
may mindset ka na. Kaya, you don't deserve to be anong pangalan yan? Commentator or broadcaster or whatever kasi bias ka ha?
You're a propagandist.
Propagandist ka rather than a newscaster or news So, tingnan mo, hindi ka magalusot kay Albayalde dahil walang ginawa ang PNP. They were following legal orders. They did not listen to the propaganda of Duterte because it was meant for public consumption. Ha? Otherwise, mayroon ka bang ipapakita, Davila, na mayroong pinirmahan na order si Duterte? Formal order na, sige, patayin mo yung mga 1,000 na yan. Wala kang mapakita. Di ba? Paring Ado, ano masasabi mo?
Tsaka yung kabataang De Los Santos, precisely. Hindi pinakialaman ni Duterte yun because what they did was illegal.
And they were convicted.
They were convicted. So anong sinasabi
And in
yung
fact,
no justice?
tulad ng utak nitong si Davila, mayroon ding isang senadora na
puro assumptions.
ganun din ang utak. Kaya nga sinampahan ko ng kaso na kidnapping of minor kasi tinago yung bata. She wanted to use the son of kapatid ng mga magkakapatid para gamitin niya against Duterte. Pero tinago niya. Tapos nung hinambol namin ni Ferdinand Topacio, nilipat na niya doon sa kanyang kakampi na bishop na kasing utak din, bishop ng Caloocan. Doon tinago yung mga bata. So these people are like-minded people mga kababayan. Kaya dapat wag nang mga DDS wag nang magpapapaniwala nitong babaeng ito because she's a Duterte hater. Now talking about another issue. Ito happy si Marcos. She is very happy in the dying moments of the Biden administration. Ito, welcome niya itong mga si Egoy at saka si Puti. Ito si Puti, binabastos at binabatikos ito ng gusto ni Senator Ted Cruz. Hindi nakakalusot dahil sa mga sa mga kabulastugan na pinaggagawa nitong si Mr. Blinken. Ito pakinggan natin. Si Senator Ted Cruz is a Republican senator who is a member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs in the United States Senate. Ito.
Marcos Jr. welcomes U.S. support as Blinken and Austin arrive in the Philippines. Manila and Washington have grown closer amid increasing tensions with Beijing in the disputed South China Sea.
Happy.
Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has welcomed U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin to Manila, stressing the need for regular and open engagement between Manila and Washington to ensure an agile response amid continuing tension in the disputed South China Sea.
Sila lang nagsasabi-sabi.
Marcos has moved the Philippines closer to the United States since replacing Rodrigo Duterte in 2022. On Tuesday, he greeted Blinken and Austin at the Malacanang Palace ahead of meetings with their Filipino counterparts Enrique Manalo and Gilberto Teodoro. It is the first time Manila has hosted the so-called 2+2 meeting between the two countries. Quote, I'm always very happy that these communication lines are very open so that all things that we are doing together in terms of alliance, in terms of specific context of our situation here in the West Philippine Sea and in the Indo-Pacific are continuously examined and re-examined, and so we are agile in terms of our responses, Marcos said. Blinken said the talks were evidence of a steady drumbeat, the very high level of engagements between our countries, unquote. Truly grateful for this partnership, Blinken told Marcos.
Ano daw continued tension. Sinasabi na nga ng Marcos government at yung Chinese na
Escalation.
na de-escalate na, dumating na naman itong dalawang nagsusulsul. At saka napaka-uto-uto nitong Pinocchio diyan sa Malacanang, maniniwala na naman, igigirahin na naman yung China. Ha? Uto-uto yan pero hindi niya ma-realize that the dying days of the Biden administration is going to last maybe 4 months from now, because the election in the United States is the presidential election is going to be in November, and very clear the leading candidate there in battleground states is
Donald Trump.
Very much. In fact, yung lolo ni Bongbong by the name of Joe Biden, nag-give up na. Paano yan, Marcos? Nag-give up na yung lolo mo. Yung kasing sinasabi ni Biden si President Putin, yung presidente ng Ukraine. Ikaw naman, sinasabi mo, ang mayor ng Quezon City ay si si Joy Beltran. Parehong-pareho sila ng tatay niya, ng lolo niya, si Biden. At nag-give up na si Biden. So, anong business pa ng dalawa na yan? In the dying days of the Biden administration, which is 4 months from now, magbabago na ang Amerika. There is a very serious drum beating in the United States that Trump is gonna win. And Trump will have a new policy, which is definitely not like what this Blinken is doing and this black guy is doing.
Sabi niya sa Ukraine, I'll end the war in 24 hours.
Yes.
And I will stabilize the South China Sea.
In fact, itong nakakatawa nga, in one occasion, tinanong si Trump, hindi nga niya maalala ang pangalan itong Egoy na Secretary of Defense niya. Sabi, that black guy.
Tinanong si Biden.
Tinanong si Biden. That black guy. Hindi niya maalala yung pangalan ng Secretary of Defense niya. Parang si Marcos din yan, hindi niya maalala yung pangalan ng kanyang asawa. Sabi niya, yes, my first lady, Imelda Marcos.
Pero nga sa picture, nakaganyan siya. At sabi ko rin sa caption ko, white, brown, and black.
Brown and black. But anyway, yun po, mga kababayan, sinasabi na nga ng gobyerno through Manalo that there is a de-escalation of the tension. Tapos ito namang si Blinken, panay punta dito, Pero sinasabon naman ito doon sa Senate ng United States.
Oo.
Sinabon ng gusto ito ni Senator Hawley at saka Senator Ted Cruz.
Meron ba tayo doon?
No. Di ba? Tapos dito si sikat-sikat doon binabasura lang ito ng mga senador. So this is the kind of people that Marcos is dealing with. And at the end of the day, pagka nagkagera dyan, hindi naman yan magpapadala ng mga tulong sa Mutual Defense Treaty. Niloloko lang si Marcos parate. Can you imagine that? Pero anong sinasabi ni Nikki Cositing dito tungkol kay Marcos? Ito. This will summarize what Marcos is doing. Compliments of former Senator Nikki Cositing. Pakinggan natin.
I think the president should read more and learn more. You cannot make logical, intelligent decisions if there's nothing, no facts, no figures between your brains, between your ears. Another point is that when you make decisions, please, it's the good of the country, it's for the next generation. Remember that not all of us have an escape hatch like you do. We do not have billions of dollars stashed away somewhere. We do not have houses in other parts of the world that can be a safe haven for all of us. So please read, learn, go back and find out what happened in history, because if you don't know it, or you don't want to know about it, then you're just bound to make the same mistakes or commit the same mistakes. So remember, we 115 million Filipinos are stuck here. You have the freedom to fly anytime you want. You can have all the jets. You can buy all the houses, the palaces, the mansions that you want. And all the spending money that you could not even finish in how many 100 lifetimes. Please, don't make us look like fools, and maawa naman kayo sa Pilipino. Kayo, walang problema eh. Marami kayong bahay sa ibang bansa. Pera. Madali kayo lumipad. Ginawa nyo na yan eh. Lumipad na kayo eh. Di ba? So, yun lang ang aking masasabi. Kawawa naman po kami. At hindi lang mahihirap ang kawawa. Yung middle class, na paunti-unti nawawala. Yung kanilang pinag-ipunan dahil lang naniniwala sila dito sa mga propaganda, sa mga trolls, sa mga TikTok, sa mga... Hindi po yan ang kailangan namin eh. Kasi binabaliwala ninyo yung suliranin ng taong bayan. Binabaliwala nyo, hindi nyo pinapansin. Yung may reklamo, wala lang, baliwala lang lahat yan. Kasi sayawan lang, party lang, sige, biyahe lang tayo, okay. Okay lang sana kung maunlad yung bansa natin. Ngayon, meron pang Maharlika Fund. Di ba? Nakita natin sa Sweden, sa ibang bansa, na lusaw lahat yung pondo. Ang daming mga pera ng GSIS, SSS, o kung ano pa mang government institutions na ilalagay nyo dyan. Hindi yan sarili nyong alkansya. Kaya mag-ingat po kayo. Dahil, hindi lang tatahimik ang Pilipino. Alam natin yan. Naghihintay lang ng oras yan. At kung hindi nyo alam kung anong gagawin ninyo, mabuti ngayon pa lang, magkaalaman na.
Full of, that was full of spirit, full of push.
Sincerity to.
Sincerity. Coming from a veteran politician, one of the original senators, when senators were honorable, where the senators are, respectable. Ngayon, mag-iimbestiga, kunyari, papalakpak muna ng todo, court jesters, tapos, para na naman gumawa ng propaganda, pakita sa tao na, they care about our welfare. Nasa baha tayo. Gagalaw ang mga senador, mag-iimbestiga. Pero, noong panahon na nagsabi si Marcos na 5,500 yung na-accomplish na mga projects, flood control, katakot-takot na palakpak. Ha? Oh, tapos sila rin naman ang bantay sa lakay. Magkano ba yung I will dare each senator dyan nung nakatanggap nung 3 billion pork barrel kung wala ba silang nilagay sa contractor na project na flood control. You better be honest of yourselves kasi ito si Revilla time immemorial nung yung tatay pa niyan gustong-gusto ng public works kasi alam mo mayroong diyan, di ba? Mayroong gold mine.
May baon.
Pati pamilya niyan nangungontrata di ba? Oh. So wag tayong magiging naive.
Gullible,
wag tayong maging kukunwali pa tayo na kawawa sila. Itong isang anak ng pare sasabihin doon sa amin sobrang baha. Pero may ginawa ba kayo? Saan napunta yung ninyo, pork barrel? Di ba nilagay nyo sa mga contractors? I'm sure you did it. So, yun po, mga kababayan, kaya tama si Nikki Cositeng na wag naman sana na ano pa yung may sinasabi pa si Escudero? Praise ng praise kay Marcos. Pinapaimbestiga niya yung mga minions niya sa Senate, pero siya praise ng praise doon sa after the speech of Marcos, he was praising. Of course, that's understandable because it was Marcos who praised him as the Senate President.
The First Lady and he drinks from the same cup?
Oo. Oo. Parang pinagbiyak na yan Tumon Junction. Tawag niyan. Oo. So, yun po, mga kababayan, nasa Diyos na lang ang ating pag-asa. So,
huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe dito sa Iparas kay Paras at i-click ang notification bell sa YouTube. At pag linaman mag-subscribe din kayo, magpaalam na tayo, Secretary.
Magandang hapon muli. Dito kami sa Iparas kay Paras.